what's up you guys, this is Rob from the Gay Guy Plays, and today we're priming that posterior for some perilous play when we get our primes dressed to kill. Now the only reason I'm doing this video is because I've gotten a lot of requests and I don't really feel like repeating myself over and over again, so here is a bit of a disclaimer. I like my prime frames to look like primes. I may slightly tweak their color schemes to help make it easier to match weapons and attachments to them. However, aside from a few accent tones and energy colors, I don't do very much. Now the cool thing about this process is that you can use suggested color sets to pimp out non-primed frames. However, if you are hoping to see some drastic changes, that's not what's on today's docket. So feel free to make a hasty exit with all of my best regards. With that said, let's get started. Now this is usually my last step when I'm customizing primes, but it's the most boring part, so let's just get it out of the way first. Now one of the primary ways I customize my primes is via the use of attachments. Most often I go for the prime armor sets with the occasional set of neighbor's shoulders. Now the big issue with this is the fact that sometimes the attachment tinting doesn't necessarily match up with the tinting of the base frame, and as we know, certain frames still have untintable gold sections. So for this, I tend to break out the Orokin and Tenno palettes, and do my best to dupe the original color schemes. Now I tend to use the Orokin palettes for the golds and the bases on the lighter primes, while I turn to the Tenno palette for some of the non-metallic gold accent tones on the frames. As for the bases on the darker frames, I'll toss up some suggestions on the right to help you narrow down a dupe. Also, feel free to use the smoke palette, but do note, none of the prime frames actually use a pure black, so your best bet is to shoot for something in the middle. Now, this next part is where things get interesting. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but for as long as I've played Warframe, I've linked specific energy colors to specific frames, and that is where I take a little more liberty in tinting the primes. For me, Loki has always been red, Excalibur has always been that iconic Orokin blue, and Nova of course is pink. Now, I don't have this color attachment to every single Warframe, but for those that have that pull on me, I will always use the energy colors I had on their base set. Now, this can be a problem for a few of the frames as their default accent tones clash with the energy colors, with the best example being Nyx's Prime. For some strange reason, DE thinks that she is green, when clearly she is meant to be purple. So I had to go in and swap her accent tones, which exist as her primary and tint colors 3 and 4, in order to better match her energy color. The same goes for Nova Prime, which I gradiated from white to pink using the secondary and tint color 3. And lastly, I matched the accent tones on Ash Prime's dangly bits to his energy color for a little bit of prime continuity. Now let's get dressed. So that basically sums up my process. The only thing that I've left out is the fact that I run 3 different versions of my Warframes equipped with the insignias of each of my current syndicates. Usually this involves me tossing on a different armor set and calling it a day. Because frankly, when you've got something that looks this sexy, you just gotta learn how to work that goldenrod. So thank you all for watching another episode of Dressed to Kill. Be sure to check out my previous episode on customizing Oberon, and for a change of pace, catch my latest editorial on why you should love nothing. Now don't forget to do all the things that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay drop dead gorgeous.